Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. In this video, I want to talk about, you know, how the market sucks. There are still opportunities that exist. You know, um, no matter what the market conditions are, right? There are always going to be opportunities to look for. And in particular, I'm looking at three different cryptos in this, you want to call it a bear market or a crypto winter or whatever the term may be that I think have some great potential and some great upside. Some of them have passive income opportunities, but just to focus on three in particular, because remember, the market may be terrible, but it's the time when there's fear that you should be buying, right? There's a time when nobody wants to touch anything, everybody's scared. That's the time to buy. Just replace fear with buy and greed with sell. You see red, that means buy, green means sell. Very simple. So even when the market's down, even when the space's sentiment is probably at an all-time low, I mean, especially since I've been in crypto, right? There's still opportunities. That's the time to be either accumulating, building, or whatever it may be. Some of the greatest businesses in existence currently, okay, were built during times of despair. I mean, Great Depression, there were businesses built when sentiment was at an all-time low. In 2020, people were building businesses, right? The same thing goes for cryptocurrency. I mean, if you see the markets doing terrible, you should be asking yourself, okay, where are the opportunities, right? Where do the opportunities exist, and how can I take advantage of that? I always think of things through the 80-20 rule, right? Because I have found it to be it's not really a law, it's a rule, but it almost seems like a law. It's something that really it exists and permeates all different areas, especially in business and life and relationships and your finances and your faith in a lot of ways, your health. You will get 80% of your results from just a small handful of things. Okay. You don't need to do a whole laundry list of things. You just need to do a few things to get really most of the way there. So I look at investing that way. I look at business that way. I look at, health that way, relationships that way, finances that way. I mean, you name it, it can be applied. So, when we look at these projects, I hate to say it, only a small handful of these are going to survive. I knew in business that when you're starting a new business, you need around 10 products. The reason is because that's how you really get the 80-20 rule to kick in. For example, you're going to release 10 products. 1 or 2 are going to be your home runs. Another 1 to 2 might just be a base hit. Rest are duds. And I look at investing in cryptocurrency very similarly. You almost have to buy 10 different projects after doing your proper research to really find your 1 or 2 that are going to really kill it for you and be your home run. Okay, so it's just something to mention because it's a rule, Pareto's principle or 80-20 rule that really applies to everything. And just to show this really quick, these are things that my business mentor used to show me in calls and things like that helped me. That's why I like to show you guys, because I think it's a great visualization. You think about 80-20 rule. It's not like you need to do a long laundry list of things. It's a small handful of things, right, to get the results you're looking for. And of course, when people picture success, they think it's a straight line up. But in reality, it's jumping over hurdles and overcoming obstacles and going down and up and side to side and yada, yada. But ultimately, you want the curve to be going up. As long as the trend is going upwards, even if you're going down, you know what? It's a learning lesson, and that is what life is all about. So without further ado, let's get into the 3 cryptos that I'm personally accumulating, some of them to have passive income opportunities, and we'll come back here. Okay, guys, so to start off, the very first token here is reserve rights, or RSR. Now, I've known about RSR for some time. I knew about it back in 2020, didn't buy nearly enough, under a penny. It took off, of course. What was the all-time high on this? I'm trying to remember. Just under 12 cents. When it took off to that point, I just, didn't buy it, clearly, right? But under a penny, I felt like I missed it. So, of course, we've pulled all the way back. And here we are under a penny. I think this is just a phenomenal buying opportunity. And let's get into it. Like, what is reserve rights? This is their website, reserve.org, if you'd like to check them out. Now, reserve rights is backed by Coinbase Ventures and Peter Thiel. So you definitely want to be fading these guys. Okay. I think it's likely to get listed on Coinbase at some point. I know Coinbase, they have some funny decisions they make on listing tokens. But nonetheless, I do believe that reserve rights will get listed on Coinbase Pro and the regular Coinbase as well, given the fact that it is backed by Coinbase Ventures. I think that's very likely to happen. So aside from just the Coinbase pump that it would have from being listed, there's a stable token, and then there's the speculative token RSR, which is how you can participate in this brand new technology. We'll go back and look at the supply here for a minute. That website, it's good, but it's just to sit here and watch that kind of zonks me out a little bit. It's a competitor to other stable coins like USDT and USDC, which is they might even have it listed. Do they have it listed on here? Or SV, which is the stable coin here. Okay, we'll get into this in just a second. I think so. Essentially, what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a new reserve currency, right? I think that the marketing behind it, just from a marketing perspective, the propaganda is actually very good, and I just think that what they're doing is it speaks to me as a marketer, okay? And I think their content's very good. I think it's going to speak to a lot of different people. I think people are going to really resonate with it. There's currently a Google Play app, and the value case is that it will protect people from hyperinflation, right? So we'll start talking about the stablecoin RSV for just a moment, okay? Because the two tokens, RSV and RSR, we'll go in here in a minute. It's going to be starting off with a peg to fiat originally, okay? Then it's going to grow to a collateralized asset allocation basket in the near future. So it ends up being backed by other assets such as gold, as well as other commodities in addition to fiat currency. And as the whole world economies eventually moves away from these fiat currencies anyway. But let's talk about it. So the stablecoin RSV versus RSR, there's at least 10 to 12 countries, and this is, I think, a slightly outdated number in the world that are facing hyperinflation. I'd say including the USA. I mean, based on the Great Reset and the things they've been warning us about for some time, right? Because the Federal Reserve, as we know, continues to mismanage its balance sheet, and they're hyperinflating the world economy. Obviously, the smartest investors are placing their money into these new tokens and technologies. So clearly, we want to start fading what these people are doing. It's becoming a little obvious to me. Just like now, inflation is transitory when everybody knew at the time it was not transitory. Everybody knew at the time it was not transitory. Okay. So they're going to grow the USD, hyperinflate it, and then just move to blockchain anyway. Okay. So let's get ahead of the curve so we're not late. So RSV is the stablecoin. RSR is a fluctuating volatile token. Okay. Both of them are on ERC20, so Ethereum. But the RSR gives you purchase rights to exchange for RSV in the future, okay, in which currently there's going to be a limited supply, which will later be commoditized and securitized against an asset allocation model backed by things like gold and like other commodities, okay? If you go to reserve.org, you can read about the protocol. You can read the documentation, the white paper. As a matter of fact, if we go all the way down, they have the original white paper, which explains everything. I'm not going to go through this. It's got a lot of math in here for the people who want to read the math of how all this works. Currently, if you want to try to get a passive income play with this, it's going to be a little challenging. When mainnet goes live, which is not live yet, there will be a staking mechanism that will allow RSR to act almost as a sort of insurance, okay, against like a collateral token default against the stablecoin and things like this. Not available just yet for everybody. So my opinion is when it actually does get released, there's going to be a big run on RSR. A lot of the supply will get locked up. And at that point, you might be having to buy it at 10, 15, 20, 25 cents a token. So at the moment, there's not really a passive income play with this. There used to be actually a passive income play with this that was actually really nice. That was on the Secret Network. I had done a video a while back here on privacy coins. The Secret Network actually had a whole staking and liquidity pool mechanism for RSR, which they don't have anymore. So unfortunately, aside from that, you can stake it at places like BitTrue. A lot of these centralized exchanges I would be careful with. I don't like leaving tokens on exchanges in general, but especially these centralized exchanges where they don't even allow US citizens. You have to not KYC to be on there. So just be careful participating with that. So at the moment, not really a passive income play, but down the road, I think it will be. And I mean, the fact that we're under a penny, I think is unbelievable. Currently, I know people base things off market cap and all that. 112 million market cap, 10x easy from here, easy. They already did that. Actually, it was almost 12 cents. It was a 20x. Yeah, but anyway, RSR is one of those ones that I've been stacking during this time. You can also see their mainnet path. These are all the different activities they need to finish, tasks, I should say, to get to the mainnet launch. So they've got their work cut out for them, but hoping to see mainnet launch soon. So the first token to keep your eye on, to consider maybe for your portfolio, for not a existing passive income play, but I think a big one down the road is RSR or reserve rights. So go ahead and check that out. You can buy it. Let's see. Currently, I'll tell you where I buy it. I personally, you can buy it on crypto.com. I bought it off of there. I've also bought it off of KuCoin and BitTrue. Be cautious with some of the DEXs because the liquidity is really, really bad. If you try to buy it off of Uniswap, you're going to have a large slippage. So I would just be very careful with that. Pick one of the ones on here, top ones, and that is reserve rights. The second token that I am stacking heavily, of course, is Avax, the Avalanche blockchain's native token for their network. So Avalanche is a blockchain that is becoming really popular. It's fast, it's efficient, it's scalable, it's a direct competitor to a blockchain like Ethereum because it does have smart contract capabilities. And Avax is the native token on that network for the gas and other purposes like Ethereum is to the ERC20 network. Avalanche is becoming very popular along with the DeFi, decentralized finance, staking, passive income, things of that nature, sort of opportunity that exists. So a lot of projects, you'll see them migrating, moving over to blockchains like Avalanche or Phantom or one of these other blockchains that's quicker, easier to use because the gas fees aren't so high, like Ethereum. So Avax was down, 83%, I think, just on the last few months, right? 83.6%, sorry. And you can see we got as high as, this was actually $145, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, $145. I thought I remembered that. Just basically $145. And, as the whole market was crashing, this went lower than I definitely thought it would go. I never thought we'd go lower than $50, $60, but okay, we've gone much lower. So I'm still stacking it. I think this is an incredible buying opportunity. As a matter of fact, if we look at last year, just to look at the price action for just a moment, got as high as $55, kind of ranged there. And then we all know, ironically, in May, right, similarly to this year. Big flash crash, not even a flash crash. This is, I think, when Elon Musk was talking about Bitcoin and trashed it and all this kind of stuff. And you see it went all the way down to, how low did this go? About $10. And of course, as the market turned around, looks like, starting basically it bottomed out at the end of July. Went straight up starting in August, chopped, just made its way all the way back up to $145, give or take. Okay, so essentially 14 or 15x from its low. We're sitting down more than double that at the moment, $23. This, in my opinion, absolutely goes back to 3 digits. I've always said that I think Avax is eventually a 4-digit token. Eventually. Not this bull run, not this year, probably not in the next several years, but eventually it is a 4-digit token in my opinion. So it's just something for you to keep in mind. If you're stacking this, you might hold on to a portion of it for the long term to get those gains, okay? Because that's just, to me, a matter of time. But let's look at Avalanche website really quick. So there is passive income opportunity with this one particularly in a few ways, but you're seeing the adoption of the Avalanche blockchain growing significantly. And here they show some comparisons to other blockchains and the speed and the efficiency. This is one of those, when you look at the green initiative worldwide, this is one of those blockchains I think that's going to do very well because of its smart contract and decentralized application technology will do well comparatively to something like Ethereum, even Polkadot, which I like. But nonetheless, I do believe Avalanche is going to be a big winner. I think Ethereum is still going to do just fine. I think Polkadot's going to do just fine. A lot of these other blockchains that aren't as efficient will do just fine, but I try to find the winners, the bigger winners, and I think blockchains like Avalanche and even Phantom, which is a whole other video, I think will do very well. But Avalanche, to me, is the next sort of Ethereum blockchain, okay? Ethereum-like blockchain, I mean, in terms of popularity. But as far as the staking is concerned, the passive income, it's not just staking. Let's talk about for a minute how Avalanche works, because there is actually different sub-chains, and this gets a little confusing to people. There is an X chain, a P chain, and a C chain. So the X chain is called the exchange chain, okay? And the X chain is kind of the main asset chain on Avalanche. It's kind of used for creating new different asset classes. So an address is created, and this is known as an X address. So when you hold your assets in your X address, they remain far more liquid, meaning that you're able to just easily transfer them out to other X addresses or P addresses and things like that. The P chain, platform chain, is basically like the platform chain that manages metadata in the Avalanche network, such as staking, different data that is in relation to that activity. So an address created on the P chain is known as a P address. When you hold your assets in a P address, they're more illiquid. So you're not always able to just move, into other X addresses or things like that right away, or even P addresses. So to move assets out of a P address to another, you have to send them back to an X address and then to a P address. So it's kind of a little more difficult. And of course, the C chain, which is what we're all familiar with, is called the contract chain, and that enables a smart contract functionality and dApps, the decentralized applications. While the other two chains are more involved in the staking process. C chain is not really included in the staking process. It's more like where the contracts of the smart contracts, decentralized applications are really stored. Okay, kind of a technical explanation is kind of the easiest I can make at the moment. But there are ways, to earn a passive income on Avax. There's quite a number of ways. If you have enough Avax, I'm not going to go over the technicals of this here. If you have enough Avax, you can actually run a validator Validators require 2,000 Avax. Okay, so if you are fortunate enough to have 2,000 Avax, you can run a validator that's validating blocks on the actual blockchain. So you're rewarded for assisting with the blockchain, essentially. But you need enough Avax in order to pull that off, right? Like, for example, I believe it's 32 ETH for a Ethereum validator. Back when Ethereum was $100, it's a little over $3,000, right? Now look at how much that costs. What is it, like 65,000, I think, something like that. So as the price, like I say, if the price ever goes to $100 again, it's $200,000 just to run one validator, right? Anyway, just some things to keep in mind. It gets relatively more expensive as you go on. And, just kind of as an aside note, the people who got in early on the XDC masternodes, I think were big, big, big winners. They were the ones that had the foresight to know how big XDC can be, right? So I think this is kind of a similar situation with validators and whatnot. Now, as a delegator, you're staking your AVAX to a validator, right? So on one hand, you can run the validator. On the other hand, you can just delegate to the validator. Okay, hope that makes sense. The minimum for both of these is 2 weeks, and the maximum is 1 year. Okay, just something to keep in mind. There is a delegation fee rate of 2%. A website that I really, really like when I'm calculating these things is called stakingrewards.com. A lot of you have probably used this, but you can come on here, and this will be part of I've had more requests for this video than probably anything else, which is how do you perform research? How do you find new opportunities? I'm going to probably do that next. And this is one of those assets in that research process that you want to have, is something like staking rewards, where you can see opportunities and rewards and what that all looks like and different opportunities as well. So if we come on here, we see Avalanche right here. If we click it, we can see the different returns that you can get. Running validators versus delegating, how long, what's the risk, the complexity, the minimum, the lockup periods, all this really cool stuff. And then you can run some models here. If you wanted to do this for 1 year, 5 years, 30 days, with either the US dollar amount or the actual token amount. Here, you just click this button. Do you want to delegate, run a validator, lend, current price, or base it on future gains, future losses, all of that type of stuff. Just a great tool. So for example, if we were to run this running a validator, let's just say you have 2,000 AVAX, and you want to run a validator for 1 year. And let's say run a validator. Based on the current price, personally, for me, I'd put very bullish, which puts it at 100%. So I'd put us at like a $50 AVAX. That's really, frankly, low. I actually think probably super bullish is more likely, but we'll do it with very bullish right here. Running a validator would make you roughly about $728 a month based on that future price. So this is a really cool way to kind of gauge different models and outcomes. What are you trying to do with your AVAX? Because, if you hold a token like this, you have to either stake it or run a validator for at least 2 weeks, right? So it's not like you got to lock it up for 6 months or something like that. So it probably makes sense to do something like that, because I don't think this market's going to turn around in 2 weeks. And then you can just be earning free AVAX as you go along. So if you're stacking this, that's a really good strategy, is to find a way to earn more over time, especially when you have light lockup periods and things like that. So Avalanche is a big one. Would not be surprised to see 3 digits, maybe even by the end of this year. I think we make our move up in late October, sometime in November, for our next move up. And I would fully expect AVAX to be at $100. And, based on kind of the previous price action, how we sprung up from $10 up to $145, essentially, I would not be surprised to maybe see new all-time highs. Maybe not this year, but definitely new all-time highs in the near future. So Avax is that second token that I personally am stacking, and I think this is a phenomenal buying opportunity. Remember, guys, people keep saying, well, Avax is going to go back to $9. Okay, sure, it absolutely could. You know what? I would just buy more. frankly. You don't need to catch the bottom. You just need to dollar cost average in on the way down and dollar cost average out on the way up. You don't have to catch the exact top nor the exact bottom, but I think this is pretty darn close and a great buying opportunity for me personally. And the very last token, as you may have guessed, is of course the Freeway token. I've covered this. I've covered Freeway ad nauseum at this point, but this is one of the three that I'm personally stacking during this downtrend. There's a lot of tokens that you could actually look at. I should probably just do a video showing all of them, but I actually made a tweet. I don't even know when it was, 5-6 weeks ago, something like that, showing all the different tokens like Theta and XDC and RSR and Telcoin and T-Fuel and all these different opportunities. But these three are kind of the 80-20. We talk about 80-20 again. These are the 80-20 in my opinion, for me. Okay, congratulations if anybody finds something better. That's awesome, but these are the ones I'm looking at. Freeway token, if you haven't caught my other videos, we'll go over it again. But by the way, interestingly enough, it's up while a good chunk of the market's down right now. Interesting little point to make. Sitting at just above a penny. That just bounced right out of there. Of course, that should probably not be on the daily. Let's go to the max. You can see a little volatile, but not too bad. Relatively staying in a pretty healthy price range, actually. So what I like about Freeway token is a number of things. For starters, the reason that I see this going up so dramatically, aside from the passive income, let's put that aside for just a moment. The price to me, if I was to pick any token in this market to eventually do 100x, it's Freeway token. Okay, no, it's not because I happen to own it and I have some sort of confirmation bias. It's because I bought it knowing that or believing that in the first place. Because a lot of people will buy and hold something and they'll convince themselves of something, but I bought this with that in mind, right? So you see a lot of these platforms, Celsius, BlockFi, Nexo, Coinbase, when they tried to launch a lending program. Well, not lending, but it was more, well, it was technically a lending program. They're all getting slapped on the wrist, right? Freeway is going to become a broker in the USA, hopefully this summer. And the bottom line is, if you're going to come on their platform and earn the highest yield, you have to hold this token. Now, when people find out that they do become a prime brokerage house, essentially, okay, when they find out that superchargers eventually down the road possibly become securities and there are protections around that, and you have this cash, you're going to go to Freeway, more than likely. I mean, more than likely. It's a scam until it's not, right? And the nice thing is, if you have stablecoin, it's not like you're losing. I mean, you are losing by not participating right now if you wait a year or two or three or whatever. But the token itself is where you can still get the gains. And if you don't trust the platform, you can just buy the token and put it in your wallet and just get the price appreciation. You don't even have to participate in the passive income part of it, right? But having to hold 5% in the Freeway token, more than likely 10%, because you're going to want to have a buffer for volatility, is going to cause this to go up and up and up. They'll build in their own blockchain where this will be the gas token. That blockchain will have banking and financial services, credit card services on it. There will be validator potential. There's going to be a stable coin. They're building an entire ecosystem, I guess is what I'm saying. So if you were to just put aside for a minute the fact that you have to hold this as a percentage to gain the higher yield, there are other things that are being built around this. So if you don't trust our platform, you can hold the token in your MetaMask if you want. You just won't earn the yield on it. Okay. So obviously, Freeway token is my third pick. They don't talk too much about the Freeway token on the website itself on Freeway. Right here, there's a little short blurb about the Freeway token staking. You earn anywhere from 15 to 30%. That fluctuation is based on how long you decide to hold it in your account, your staking period, as well as when they bump up from 43 to 50%, that 7% buffer. Some will have, some will not. So the leftover will also be put into the Freeway Token rewards. Of course, if the price of Freeway Token skyrockets, you're not going to earn 30%. You might not even earn 15%. It might go down. So just something to bear in mind. But either way, I mean, those are first world problems to have. Now, the cool thing is, this is inside of my Freeway account, when you are earning, or when you're staking your Freeway token, I should say, you can earn in, a whole variety of different options: Bitcoin, USD, Ethereum, gold, which is Paxos Gold, the new supercharger, the British pound, euro, whatever you want to earn it in. I've chosen Bitcoin just because I don't hold any Bitcoin, so it's a cool way to get some free Bitcoin personally. But 15 to 30%, there's an entire ecosystem being created around a Freeway token with their own blockchain and all the things I just mentioned. I think that when they become a regulated prime broker in the USA, as well as in many other countries, that people will see Freeway as the place to park their money, even though 43%, for a lot of people, they think that that's too good to be true. In the traditional finance world, you have funds that earn far more than 43%, by the way. It's just that the peasants like us don't have the opportunity to get into those. I've covered those in previous videos, like the Medallion Fund and things of that nature. So it's essentially, it's not as unrealistic as you would think, I guess is what I'm actually trying to say. Okay, so Freeway token for me, because I see Freeway as such a bullish platform in the near and long-term future, that the Freeway token is just, for me personally, this is a no-brainer. And you know what? You can hold it at 15 to 30% as well. And if you get it earned back in something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, then you have the price appreciation of that. And you could take that and put it back in here. As you can see with some Bitcoin that I've done, it comes right back in here, which earns 43%, which you then get the price appreciation in addition to it. Okay, so that's the reason why I like the Freeway token so much. And I think I've mentioned this before. If you buy it on an exchange, let's go and look here: Uniswap, PancakeSwap, because there is a Binance Smart Chain version of this. You cannot bring that into Freeway to earn the yield. You have to open up a Freeway account. I have a link in the description below. It is a referral link. Use it or don't use it. That's up to you. I'd appreciate it if you would use it. But you open up an account with Freeway. You buy it inside of your account right here. They update your account manually, and then you earn the 15 to 30%, but you can't bring it in. You can, of course, pull it out of here into like a MetaMask wallet, and then you're good. You just can't bring it back in. It's the funny regulatory world we live in. So Freeway token is my third pick. I think the price appreciation is great. I think the use case and innovation is great. And of course, I think the passive income opportunity is great as well. I think anything in this range is a great buy. Anything from the 1 to 2 cent range, quite frankly, is going to be a dream in the future. I see it pulling a percentage like Binance Coin move in the near future. That's just my take on Freeway Coin. I hope that helped, guys. These are not the only opportunities that exist, but just a couple opportunities that exist. I'd like to know what you guys are buying. I know a lot of people have some projects that they've shared with me that I just thought were super fascinating. Never heard of some of them. And this is that space that has so many different projects that there's always somebody finding something really new and unique and interesting. So I'd love to hear what you guys are buying. Or are you selling? Maybe you're selling. I don't know. Got some videos coming. Like I said, one of the most requested videos is how to do research. I have a whole grading system, okay, for different tiers, different layers of the onion that I look for when I'm researching projects, down to the use case, the founders, how I grade it, what I'm looking for, and things like that, how to find those opportunities, that type of stuff. Because a lot of people don't have a following large enough where they just get messaged projects, right? So how do you find those? Like, where do you go? If you just don't care about a following or any of that type of stuff, where do you find opportunities? How do you know if they're good? How do you know if they're bad? Things like that. So that's been a requested video. And I think that's actually, in this market right now, with the market down, I think that's a great video, because this is the time to be researching. This is the time to be finding opportunities and buying them before they take off. You don't want to wait until something's up 15x to start dollar cost averaging in if it's a great project, especially if you can get in now, earn a little bit of passive income on it, and use that either because you want to support your lifestyle or because you want to get free tokens for the price appreciation that's to come. So that's the very next video after this. But I hope this helps. You know, you got RSR, Avax, and Freeway Token. Those are the three big ones personally that I'm stacking. There's some little ones here and there, but for the most part, those are the ones that I'm bullish on, okay, coming up. The market's not done. It's not even near done, in my opinion. Even if we go down further, I think that's certainly possible. But this is the time to buy when there's blood on the streets. This is the time to find new opportunities. This is the time to build new businesses. This is the time to make your moves. Make your moves when nobody's watching, because champions don't have an off season. So thanks for tuning in, guys. God bless. Much love, and we will talk again soon. Take care.